Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2024 Mazda CX-90 plug-in hybrid in the Premium Plus trim level. This vehicle sitting on 275/45 Falcon tires wrapped around 21-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is Rhodium White, and pretty impressive color. The sun's not really shining right now, but it kind of has like this pearl effect to it. So here in the grille, you can see this is a really wide vehicle. The front end is kind of blunt, I guess, and it has a gloss black grille here. The emblem serves as the radar adaptive cruise control sensor. There's a camera here in the front center, kind of pretty decently integrated there. And this whole grille is underlined by this chrome strip right there. There's also a pretty cool LED accent light here as well. Parking sensors across the front. You can see there's one of them right there. There's some more chrome at the bottom, and then this is the flat black down here. Now some airflow going through right in here, luckily. That way it gives some kind of relief from the forward pressure there. But it has pretty decent LED headlights. They're a projector LED system for your low and your high beams. And it has a neat little accent light. I have a night video if you want to check it out. Looking at the profile here, it's pretty impressive actually, the styling. A lot of people like the way it looks. And so the front end's kind of blunted. And then this back end kind of bubbly right here. Now that makes the third row seat very roomy. So yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna like the styling for this type of vehicle anyway. Now there's that flat black that we saw before. It extends around each wheel well and the base of the door here as well, with a little chrome strip there. Now the pillars there are gloss black, and so it kind of solidifies the glass. So there's no connection right here though, so that kind of makes the back end a little bit more bubbly than it would otherwise look. I think if they were to add a little bit of a connection there with the black, it'd look a little bit better. Body colored handles and other portion of the side mirror is also body colored, and then there is an aluminum metal roof rail there. This is what the key looks like. Not really anything special here. It's just a regular Mazda key, kind of bulky and a little bit of a pain to carry around with you. You can't really disconnect it easily from your keychain like other key fobs. But it does have the lock unlock, the ability to open up the power lift gate and the panic button there on the edge. But it's a full proximity key. Best to just leave it in your pocket, use the vehicle. Now it has the little lock button right there, and then the unlock is in the back here. So it's pretty straightforward to using the key. Now there is a physical key location right here. You pull the handle out and you can see it kind of angled there. There's cameras on the underside of each side mirror. It goes along with the other cameras, and it kind of stitches together a full view. And we'll see that when we get inside. Now the doors go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle, so it completely encloses the threshold, keeping it a little bit cleaner than it would otherwise be. The inside of the passenger side door, it has mostly black surfaces, except for it has like this metallic accent here. It's looking pretty cool. So this is kind of like semi-soft, I guess. This is like a vinyl type material here for the armrest, and the rest is the hard touch surfaces there. Now it has the Bose sound system. It sounds pretty good, not super impressive, but it sounds pretty decent. Power seat here on the passenger side. It does go up, down, forward and back and all that stuff, which is unusual for a power passenger seat. Usually it just goes forward and back and not up and down. These are Napa leather seats, heated and ventilated. Now the stitching here, and I'll have the window sticker at the end of the video if you want to see all the packages that the vehicle has. So there's perforations there in the center, and then it has the solid leather here on the sides, it has stitching and a little stripe there in the center, looking pretty cool. And these are pretty comfortable seats. The floor mat snaps in place here on the passenger side, and pretty good amount of leg room. This is a soft material here, relatively soft. Hard touch here, And then is a non-locking glove compartment. And it's felt lined, and it's pretty good size in here as well. Then we have some more of that chrome. This is like a vinyl material or a leather and with a stitching. And then the dash is kind of like a rubbery, non-reflective material there. Has a huge sunroof. We'll look at that in a little bit. The opening here in the front, lots of room. You're not bumping your head, and it's just very easy to get in and out of the vehicle here. Swing of the door is nice. The back door, even better. Swing of the door is excellent. It's almost a 90-degree angle. And look at all that headroom, legroom, everything. Just wide open space getting in here to the back door. Now, the back door has a shade that's retractable, which is pretty cool. And I like the way it has a single handle. You just reach in, pull it down. It has the privacy glass as well. And we have similar styling with the metallic portions here. Soft touch, vinyl, and then hard touch here at the bottom. There's a threshold, and once again, the door goes all the way to the bottom. So we have the captain's chairs back here. Pretty cool. And it has the ISOFIX or latch system for car seats, and has little plastic covers that you're going to take off and lose, so it's not all that great. Might as well just go ahead and take them off, throw them away to begin with. But these are heated seats back here, and they fold down. They also recline, all that stuff, go forward and back. There's a pocket on the back of both front seats. So you got the pocket there, soft material here. A little bit of a, or significant hump there in the center. And it has these little cup holders, kind of interesting because they're so shallow. You put like a bottle in there and the bottle just falls out. So I'm not sure what those are for. Maybe like a super shallow little tiny cup or something. I'm not sure, but it does have them. There's the climate control, USB ports, that kind of stuff. Now these seats fold down like so. You can fold them down using this lever here, but this is how you actually move the seat forward to get into the third row. So you can see right here, kind of step, plastic area right here, and then you can go into the third row. And you can see it's a pretty decent amount of room back here. Now it's just a 2-passenger third row seat, and it has a little bit of space there in the center and a center seat belt, but realistically, it's a 2-passenger in my mind. There is a USB charge port, cup holders back here, same thing on the other side. And the floor is almost, like, it depends on how long your legs are, but you know, it's not really for like tall adults or anything. And so you can see the legroom isn't all that great, but the amount of seats space is impressive. But it's always third row seats always have that legroom problem. Since this is a plug-in hybrid, it has a charge port, and it does have an illuminated light. So at nighttime, it will illuminate this area. And I did not show that in the night video, so just want to point that out. So yeah, just basically, this one just basically has the regular 220 or 110 charge port. This is like a little cap cover. This is typically would be the fast charging spot. But this is just covered up because it doesn't actually have that feature. So this is just a plug-in hybrid. And it takes about 2 hours or so, hour and a half, 2 hours to charge. And it costs about, depending on your cost of electricity, to like $1, $1.50 for a full charge. And a full charge gets you about 25 to 30 miles. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has we saw the roof rails there. They're aluminum, looking pretty cool. It has this little shark fin antenna, a little tiny for this huge vehicle, big boat vehicle. It has a little tiny shark fin antenna that is body colored. And then there is a third brake light at the top of the glass here, and then a rear wiper, of course. LED tail lights, looking pretty cool. Now on this one, it does, you would think that the tail lights extend all the way to the tailgate, but they don't. They're just out here. There is a reverse light here, and then reflectors there at the bottom. Parking sensors back here as well. This one has the towing package, and overall, pretty good, looking pretty good back here. Now the Backham camera, I don't know why, but the backup camera is offset way over here. The front was in the center, so I'm not sure why they decided to just put it off to the side, and it's there with the tag, not integrated with the design of the vehicle, offset, just not good. I don't really care for that. Now the towing package does have the outlet as well, 7-way outlet here. Okay, so opening this up, you can of course use the key, or you can push the button under here. So of course they put the button in the center instead of the camera. Okay, so I have this set to where it goes as high as it could possibly go. And man, do I bump my head right there all the time on these corners. So if you're like 5'9" or under, then you'll probably be fine. But if you're taller than that, watch out, because this lift gate is ridiculously low, and it really it's like a deal breaker. There's no way I could buy this vehicle because I bump my head on this lift gate every single time I try to get back here. And even I'm not like standing up tall, I'm like kind of bowing my head down a little bit trying to avoid it, and I still bump my head on it. So yeah. It's okay, so there is the cargo space, and the cargo space is taken up by this section right here a little bit. So that area kind of comes in quite a bit. So if you have stuff, you know, your cargo area really starts here and goes back. All right, so keep that in mind. It's kind of limiting. It's a little bit of a pain to get groceries and stuff sometimes, especially my camera equipment. It's not that much space. But check it out. It's got a power supply, 12-volt power supply that's connected to the battery. So that way you don't have to, like, even though the vehicle's off, you can still use that power supply. And you also have a power inverter. And the power inverter is 150 watts. So it's a 3-prong, 150 watts, so you can charge a laptop or something like that. Then there's a bag holder here. There's a light on this side, bag holder. And then there on this side, you have a 1500 watt power inverter. All right, see it, 3-prong, 1500 watts, which is basically like your outlet in your house. So that's a pretty good amount of power right there. A 1500 watt power inverter. So 1500 watt here on this side, 150 watts. So if you just need like a basic power inverter for low voltage type, you know, low wattage things, you can use that one. But if you did like the full 1500 watts, which is like a space heater in your house or a hair dryer, I mean, like, it's very substantial. So these power inverters are really nice. Now it has this little pocket here, and it has a light on this side and right here, and it's like not symmetrical, so it has it only on one side. The other side, no lights. So it's kind of weird. Not all that great as far as the visibility here at nighttime. You can see that in the night video. Okay, so this floor is just kind of sitting here, like there's no, it's not secured in any way. So just keep that in mind. This lifts up, and there's the 110 charger that it comes with. Now it takes forever for this to charge, so I recommend you getting a full 220 level 2 charge system for your house, because this, I mean, this is okay. I mean, for the type of vehicle, if you charge it all night long, that's like 12 or 14 hours or whatever, then yeah, you can get a full charge with this. But it's just so much faster with the 220 and more efficient as well. Okay, so we have some tools on this side, and we have a spare tire as well, and there's the subwoofer in the spare tire as well. There's the jack on this left side, if you see that, and then there's a little bit of space around the spare tire, but it does have a spare tire, which is, unfortunately, is, you know, I have to specify that. Some vehicles don't nowadays have a spare tire. Now these seats can fold down. It's a 60-40 split here on the third row, and then you can fold the second row down, and you can add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space, or you could fold everything down and have a huge wide open space back here for cargo. So folding these, or bringing down the power liftgate, it has 2 buttons. One is to lower it, the other one is to lock the vehicle, then lower it. So it has a locking fuel door, and it unlocks when it wants to. So you press it, Hold it. Keep pressing it. Hold it. All right. You see it's still not unlocked. So it decides when you have to pump gas. All right, so let's try something here. All right, let's turn the power off here. All right. So now let's try. Press it. Preparing for refueling. It's preparing, so it has to prepare for that. All right, ready to refuel. All right, so now it's allowing us to put gas in it. So now it's unlocked. So now we can open this up. And now all we see is a traditional cap, tether, and hang a little place right here to hang the cap. And it says premium recommended. So keep that in mind as far as your fuel economy and how much money you're gonna have to spend. Okay, so let's go ahead and start it up. I had the key in my pocket. Press and hold the brake and press this button right here. Start it up. Now it's beeping at me. It's beeping at me. So this beeping is pretty common. So if you don't like the beeping, then you probably don't want to buy this vehicle, because there's a lot of beeping and noises that it, for whatever reason, just has to constantly bug you with. Not sure why, but since it's a hybrid, the engine doesn't turn on when you start the vehicle. Typically, it's just the electric power turns on, and it's ready to drive. It even says ready right here, but you won't hear the engine. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Snaps in place. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, footrest. Let's take a look under the hood. To raise the hood, there's a latch. The sun is shining right in there, so we can actually see it. So it's right here, a little bit to the right of center. Just reach in, push up on it. So you can see right here is what we're doing to release it. And it actually has 2 latch points here in the front, which is pretty good. And it does hold itself up, which is nice. There's seals across the front and back, insulation under the hood as well. Then we have this big plastic cover here that covers up the engine basically. But it does have these little convenient latches, so we can unlatch it and lift it up like a secondary hood. And then we have still this empty space here because it does have a four-cylinder engine paired with the 8-speed automatic transmission and the hybrid system. But it's kind of neat having this secondary little hood that you lift up. I guess when you makes it look more substantial when you see that instead of this, I guess. So we got some more covers here. So unlock, and then we have the 12-volt battery here. And then unlock, and then this is where there's the brake master cylinder. It would be nice if they actually had like symbols or stickers or says, showed you where the battery was, so you're not looking all over the vehicle, under the seats, in the back, and everywhere for the battery. If they had like a symbol up here, there's a big place for it. You can put a sticker or whatever. It says this is where the battery is. And also there's your windshield washer fluid there. You see a lot of heat shielding here on the left side. So here's the window sticker, and I want to point something out here. Under engine mechanical features, you notice it gives you the horsepower and torque. And with premium gasoline, it tells you that it has an 8-speed automatic transmission. But you notice there's something missing here. The engine. Apparently they're not proud to tell you that they have a 4-cylinder engine in this vehicle. So they just skip it over it, basically. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Now 323 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. Doesn't feel like it to me. It's one of those things where it's rather sluggish feeling and not very fast, not very the performance isn't all that great. It's okay. I mean, it gets you around. And then when you consider that it has 30 miles per gallon, but you have to put premium fuel in it. So, you know, when you're talking about a $60,000 vehicle, there's other options in the third row option type vehicles that have, you know, might be better cost effective, a little bit more fun to drive, have less annoying features, be able to access the cargo area without bumping your head, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you think. Am I being too harsh? Here's the inside of the driver's side doors, just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. Power windows, one touch up and down, so that's nice. Laminated glass. The blind spot detection system has a little indicator here in the side mirror, a little triangle right in there to illuminate when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. The back windows, they go right there, so they don't go all the way down. And there's the side mirror adjustments, door lock controls there. Power seat here on the driver's side. Basically the other side, just like the other side, you can go up, down, and all that stuff, except for it has a two-way lumbar adjustment as well. There's a heated and ventilated seats, like I mentioned. To the left of the steering column, there is a few buttons here. So this is to open up the power lift gate. 2 presets for the power seat. There's how you set it. You want to turn off some of the safety features, you can turn them off here. Parking sensors off, traction control off, those are the off buttons. And then we already experienced that button there. All right, so it also has a tilt and telescoping steering column as well that you lock in place right here. The heads-up display is actually pretty decent. Once you have it adjusted right for yourself, the clarity's good, it's not blurry, gives you relevant information. It does have the adaptive part. You can adjust the brightness, but there's no way of turning off the adaptive part. Basically, it will automatically try to adjust the brightness based on outside light. And so sometimes it's a little bit weird looking, too bright or not bright enough, that kind of thing, because of that automatic adjustment. But other than that, it's fine. The heads-up display is fine in this vehicle. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall. I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down. And this is basically my seating position. I don't have, I mean, as far as like if you're over 6 feet tall, you'd have to check it out, make sure it's good for you. The right in here is a soft part right here. It's soft, but it kind of protrudes out, and my knee lands on that a lot. Here on the left side is not really a problem, and the angle of the footrest is good. So yeah, overall it's pretty good as far as the room here. And but kind of surprised the seat doesn't go back just a little bit more. This is what the seat looks like when I have it all the way back for for the rear passenger here. I can't even fit here. So if you're over 6 feet tall, then you know you're just gonna really take into the passenger space in the back. Okay, so back here, this is what the climate control looks like, and it has heated seats. It's a three-stage heated seats here in these captain's chairs, and then there's the climate control. Very, very straightforward, just like the front. Then you have 2 USB charge ports there. The steering wheel, really nice, kind of rubbery soft, has a good soft leather wrapping to it. It looks good, it feels good, and it is heated as well, but the heated is only here on the sides, not so much on the top and the bottom. It's just here on the sides. Some vehicles have it all the way around, some of them have it in different places, but this one is just on the sides here. So I'm glad to see that Mazda didn't have the metallic buttons down here, because those kind of reflect the light and it's hard to see sometimes, but so having these match the other buttons is pretty nice. Here on the right side, it has the cruise control, so you turn it on, set, resume, cancel here, and adjust the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you here on the left side. Now I'm glad that you can go up and down and adjust the distance, increase it or decrease it, separate buttons, instead of having a single button that you cycle through. So I like that. But the only thing about these buttons, when you lift them up and push them down, it's so easy to accidentally press in. There's the press in part, the cancel, so easy to press it in that when you trying to adjust your distance, it sometimes cancels quite a bit. Same thing with this right here going up and down. You accidentally press it in because it's so easy to press it in, especially if you're driving and you're not being super careful. Then it's real easy to press it in while you're trying to adjust up and down. Here on the left side, it has the voice recognition. Also, with the button here is also the phone button. You press this button to answer, you press this one to hang up. So I'm glad to see they have a separate hang up button, especially considering this one is sharing this button with the voice recognition. So basically you can press that button when there's no call coming in. You just press it and say, hey, I call so-and-so on my phone book, that kind of thing, and you can call them. So that's why it's connected there. We'll get to this info button in a second. It corresponds to a little information screen up here. Volume for the radio. You can also mute the radio by pressing in, which is nice. And then the changing through the audio source here. Change through the tracks or the radio station going up and down. Pressing in does the source. And once again, it's real easy to press in on these buttons while you're trying to adjust them. Now, it does have paddle shifters here on the back. It does have an 8-speed automatic transmission. So you can use these paddle shifters to, cycle through those gear ratios. Now, it has the windshield wipers for the front and rear, and it also has the automatic. So it has a little indicator light showing you that it is on automatic now. If you want to turn that off, you can lift it up and it'll go into the off position. But it's nice to have that rain sensing windshield wiper control, especially if it's kind of like misting or something like that, or just kind of raining on and off. You just put that on automatic and it does a fairly decent job. So here's the turn signal. Also has the headlight switch, and I have a full night video, you can check it out. Off, automatic, parking, and headlights here. Now it has a button here on the end for turning on and off or off the automatic high beams. And that is very useful because basically I've had issues with this vehicle. When I put it on automatic high beams, when I can go to high beams manually, but when I put it on low beams, when the automatic high beams are turned on, that's when they will automatically go to high beams. So it's not like you can quickly pull down and go to low beams. It'll automatically stay on high beams. So you want to keep that button handy because, so like say I saw a bicycle, somebody's on a bicycle and the automatic high beams doesn't recognize that. So it's basically blinding the person on the bicycle. So I'm trying to quickly pull in on the stock to lower to have the low beams on instead of the high beams. But since it's an automatic high beams, it just won't let me to go to low beams. You'd think it'd be the opposite where, you can go to low beams, but high beams would, be the automatic part. But anyways, it's a little bit opposite there, and it's a little bit of a safety issue if you're not prepared to press that button. You have to know right where that button is so you can turn it off just in case a situation like that arises. Now there's a button right here that you can cycle through the trips. You have odometer, trip A, and trip B, which you can reset independently. Here on this side right here is the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. It also controls other stuff, and I showed that in the night video. Okay, so here's the gauges, basically a screen, and it has basically right here it shows the status of the hybrid system. So as you're driving, this shows how much power you're using, and then if needle goes down, it shows actually charging the batteries if you're coasting, that kind of thing. And you can adjust the regen in the settings on the main screen. But it has outside temperature, of course the trips there, digital speedometer, whatever your cruise is set at. Over here will be your distance to the distance you can drive on electric power, and then the distance you can drive on gas. And then you have your battery gauge here, and then fuel gauge here, and then this is where you shows your average miles per gallon and miles per kilowatt hour. And I've been driving recently on a lot of trying to plug it in and charge it, trying not to use so much gas, and I'm trying to get like a really good idea of how much I can save gas here. So right now I'm getting 29.6 miles per gallon. Vehicle this size, not too bad. But I am plugging it in. And every time you plug it in, I calculated it's about $1, a little bit over $1, to charge the vehicle from 0 all the way to 100. And you can go about 25-30 miles on a charge. So, you know, kind of use that as a metric there. And right here in the center is pretty interesting, because right now it's showing this vehicle, and if there's a vehicle in front of you, it'll show you it up there, and if there's a vehicle around to the left and the right while you're got the cruise control set, it'll show if there's a vehicle in your blind spot, it'll show if there's a vehicle beside you, and they're kind of represented as little shadows. So it's just kind of neat little thing, just kind of revealing what the vehicle can see around you, and all that. So yeah, this is kind of neat to the status of that. Now it doesn't have like it has a lane keep assist system, but it just kind of like if you wander off the road, it'll kind of bump the steering wheel back towards the direction you're supposed to go. It doesn't like keep you in the center of the lane or anything like that. Matter of fact, this vehicle wanders a lot. So it's a little bit, you know, it'd be nice if it did have a lane keep assist, because it's constantly, you know, you let go of the steering wheel for like half a second and it wants to go one way. It either wants to go straight right or straight left. It doesn't want to stay straight. Okay, so let's get back to this info button. It just basically adds or subtracts information right in here. As I cycle through, you can see these little icons will pop up, and I can choose and basically rest on the one that I want. I can have nothing here. I can have the original information there, temperatures, active sense status, digital compass, that kind of stuff. I like this and keep an eye on my fuel economy and range. Center information screen is nice and big, and you can see it good. And it's fairly simple. How you operate it is using this scroll button right here, the scroll wheel. And it has these physical buttons around the outside. There's a physical volume knob. There's even a button that you can select what it wants. So it's like a wildcard button. You can select what that does in the settings. So if you want to customize that button, you can do that. So using this scroll wheel, there's a quick navigation button, a quick radio button, a home button, and a back button. So right now we're in the home screen right here, and we can use the big scroll wheel. We turn it. We can also press in on it. So if I scroll down by turning that big wheel, you can see it just kind of goes up and down on this menu selection here. So the first one's information. I can press down on the big button, and I can go into this sub menu here, get information here, go back, entertainment, so this would be radio, that kind of thing. We can press in on the big button again to pull up our source list and different information here. And go back again. Communication, this will be your phone. You can pair your different phones here. Also has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which is kind of showing that over here. Digital clock is kind of small, and it kind of changes positions, and it's not always up there, you know, so that's one thing to consider. The next one is the navigation. Hit that, and you notice the clock is now up here, so it's changed positions. So let's go ahead and turn the brightness down on the camera so you can see what I'm talking about here. Alright, so there is the navigation map. As I turn the scroll wheel, the big wheel here, it kind of zooms in and out. Like so. And if I press down on the big wheel, it will give me these different selections here. And so if I hit the top one, where to, I can go in here and I can use the scroll wheel and make selections and type in what I want to search for, basically. And it'll autofill the address. So if I get close to it, it'll just automatically autofill, and I can make sure that it's the right one. Going back out of that, we go to settings. Now, one of the things I did in the settings is completely just turn off as much notifications as I could, because there's just such annoying sounds coming from this vehicle. So I tried to turn off as many warnings, and There's even a setting where if you're going over the speed limit, it will just constantly annoy you with annoying sounds, loud noise. And what happens is you might not even be going over the speed limit. It might see a sign and interpret it wrong, and you're driving, and it's just horrible. So there's a lot of horrible, annoying sounds coming from this vehicle. So if you can turn as many of them off as possible, that'd be great. The worst one that I can't turn off is a seatbelt warning. And literally, if you're sitting in the car and you come to a stop, you can be at the end of your trip and sit in the car and you want to finish a conversation with your family or whatever, and you take your seatbelt off. Well, the engine's completely in parking brake engaged, and it will constantly, loudly annoy you to put that seatbelt back on forever. It'll never turn off. Okay, so it's just a nanny type vehicle that's relentlessly annoying sometimes. So keep that in mind. Try to turn off as many annoying sounds as you can in the settings. So that's my recommendation if you get this vehicle. All right, so there's that. There's the different settings. So there's kind of a quick rundown of the screen and how you control it. But one of the best things is the camera system. So while we're looking at the screen, there's a button right here, and you can see it right there. Press that, or you can put it in reverse, of course, and it'll automatically pop up here. And it looks really good. It has a top-down view here. It has active guidelines around the vehicle, and here in the front. Right now it's showing the front, but when you put it in reverse, it'll show the back. And you can have different views here. So this is a really wide view. You can have this linear view here. And once again, we have to use a scroll wheel. It's not a touchscreen. So we can have that view, different views here. We can see the sides. The real wide view is really nice because you can actually see both ways, left or right in the front, in addition to what's directly in front of the vehicle. So this is where the active guidelines come in handy, because you have to see, like, this looks like your vehicle takes up the whole parking lot, but it's actually just right here. So that's something important. Let me go ahead and put it in reverse so you can see what that looks like. All right, there's the back view here with the super wide view. And I keep forgetting it's not a touchscreen. There's that linear view, like so. So yeah, it's a really good camera system. You can get to see around the vehicle good, and it comes in handy. And I like the way it has the button right there, easy to get to. You don't have to go searching for it. You don't have to basically go into the settings or something like that. It's just right there, easy to get to. Now, if it had an automatic function like Toyota does, or Lexus, to where it just automatically turns on, that would be even better. Now, it will automatically turn on if the parking sensors are engaged or activated, basically. So that's something that's good. Okay, so the climate control's down here. It has a tri-zone, driver, passenger, and rear. So that's 3 separate zones you can adjust independently from each other. You can sync them all, and you can control them here. But the temperatures are controlled kind of interesting. So you press down on the button here, or down on the button there. So you think it'd be up and down, but it's actually down, down. So, but they are color coded, which is pretty cool. And it shows the temperature, the fan speed, where the air is blowing, recirculate the air. You also have the heated steering wheel, heated seats, and cooled seats here in the front. Heated and cooled seats for the passenger. So yeah, so this is where you press to control the rear, and then you can turn that off, so you can toggle back and forth. There is a wireless cell phone charger here as well, 12-volt power supply. This is where you change through the drive modes right here. So we can cycle through, and actually shows pretty cool pictures up here on the screen. So if I land on sport, you have a tachometer instead of the regular hybrid monitor. on the sport mode. Now if we go to EV, land on that, and you can see the different change there, different colors and stuff. It even has an off-road mode, which is pretty cool. And then towing. But the normal mode is pretty good. It's a well-rounded normal mode. Does a pretty good job. There's the downhill descent button. Now the shifter is kind of weird because, so to put it in reverse, it has like this sharp 90-degree angle, like a number 7. So this is park, and then you go over. Now you got it in reverse, and then you pull back. Neutral, drive. So when you put it in park, a lot of vehicles just grab it, push it forward. Well, this is now reverse. Now luckily it has if you actually just press it like that and you try to get out of the vehicle, it'll actually like engage the parking brake and keep you from rolling away. Don't ask me how I know that. But you kind of have to press the button in and go over here to get it in park. So it's a little non-intuitive, a little bit of a learning curve because it's just different. I don't understand why, if they want to go with a traditional, shifter, why not just have it a traditional style instead of, you could have a push button because this is an electric shifter. It's not moving any cables or anything. You could have push buttons. You could have another way of doing it, but they want to go with a traditional shifter, but then they want to make it non-traditional for some reason. So the movement of it, non-traditional. So there's cup holders over here. They have little springy arms there. You can also close it up, make it look pretty cool. Electronic parking brake, auto hold right here, volume. You can also bump it left and right to change to the tracks. Volume, press it in to mute kind of thing. Now the armrest here is pretty interesting. It's soft, it's quite big. You could interpret this as a property line for the passenger to use that side and you use this side. Or you could just take it up and hog the whole thing up and not share. But basically that line is to open up, kind of like bomber doors, like this. And then you have this felt line. Well, it's a felt thing at the bottom here. But you have the storage compartment. Let me turn the brightness up. Because it's basically like an abyss in here. It's very dark. Now, if you change this felt at the bottom with something lighter, it'd be a little bit better. You can see in here a little bit better. There is two USB charge ports that are backlit. Those are USB-Cs. The rearview mirror is auto dimming. It's actually auto dimming right now because I have a shade over the light sensor, which is located here on the right side on the back. But also the side mirror is auto dimming here on the driver's side, but not the passenger side. HomeLink garage door button controls are here. Has some lights here, reading lights. Turn on all the lights right here, and then have them turn on with the door, or you can turn that feature off here, and that's the off light basically. This is to control the sunroof. We'll get to that in a minute. Place to put your shades is here, and it's kind of like a felt lining. The visors are a black cloth, just like the headliner, and they have these little mirrors and lights that turn on, and a little clip right here. These do extend out as well. Basically the same thing on the other side. Okay, so let's look at this sunroof, because it's huge. It has a shade that covers 100% of the light. And let's go ahead and push this back. So you can see the shade come back. It's a huge sunroof. Now the front portion moves, the back portion is fixed. So let's go ahead and press up on this button here. Kind of vent it. Pull it back down. Slide it back. And it goes up and over. Like so. Press it again. Alright, that's as far back as it goes. You can see it doesn't open that much, but it's huge. And we can, of course, close the shade. I'm glad that the shade actually covers 100% of the light. It's not like translucent or anything like that. So that's good. On a hot day, it's really nice to just stop the light from shining on you sometimes. Looking at the visibility in the back. Now, the headrests get in the way, in addition to the pillars, and that back pillar is pretty big. But overall, I mean, it's not really a huge deal because that's just the nature of this type of vehicle. It would be nice if it had the rear view camera system. That would help out. But it does have the full 360 camera system. It has the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert. It's got a camera system, parking sensors, all kinds of technology to help you drive the vehicle safely. But so the visibility issues here are fairly common in a vehicle this size, especially if you have passengers and cargo back there. It's just kind of the nature of things. So I'm going to put it in sport mode, and then we will just accelerate. So that is the full acceleration, 0 to roughly 60 in sport mode. And let's go to EV. So that's 0 to 60 in EV mode, which is, of course, a lot less impressive. So what I've been doing is charging the vehicle, and it'll give me about 25-30 miles of range on EV mode. You can set in the settings to prioritize EV or not. You can also press the charge button, and it'll keep your battery charged using the engine. Now it's going to cut down on your fuel economy by doing that. It's better to charge it and then use that charge that you used, that you've accumulated using the plug-in hybrid system. So it only costs about it's about 10 kilowatt hours. So depending on the price of your home electricity. So mine is like 11 cents. So it's like $1.10. Something like that, a little bit over $1.10 to charge and get that 25 miles. So it's slightly cheaper than overall than the gas for those 25 miles. But also, since you have that hybrid system, when you come to a stop or when you're just coasting or whatever, it turns the engine off. So there's other ways in which the hybrid system is more efficient than just a regular gas engine. So with what I've been doing, I've been getting about 25.5 miles per gallon overall. Now I haven't always charged it, but most of the time I'll have it fully charged before I leave the house. But it's only like 25-30 miles, then it's gas basically. It's able to keep let the battery charged enough to where when you still come to a complete stop or when you're coasting, it's going to turn the engine off still, even when the battery's depleted. So with a vehicle this size, 29, almost 30 miles per gallon average is actually pretty decent. Now, of course, if you're on the highway, it's going to lower. If you're in the city, it's going to be higher. So it all depends on your driving environment that will dictate how much fuel economy you get. Now this particular vehicle, I don't know if there's a front end issue or whatever, or needs an alignment, but it seems to wander on the road. And since it doesn't have the lane keep assist system, it has a lane keep assist, but it's not like following the lane. It'll just kind of bump you back in the center of the lane if you go over the, like you're going to leave your lane or go off the road or something. It's not like a lane following or anything like that. So then it doesn't have that, so it's even more obvious that it kind of wanders. It depends on the road, but it tends to either go left or right. It doesn't, sometimes it'll go straight, depending on the road. Now the ride quality is, I would say, very subjective. I mean, depends on the road. It seems to be a little bouncy and bumpy, and you know, I don't know, it's not exceptional. You know, there's times in which I wish it was a little bit better, but I think a lot of people would be able to live with the ride quality. It's just, it seems like it'd be a little bit better. And also, you know, a little bit less noisy and stuff like that. You know, it's one of those type of vehicles you really have to take it for a test drive yourself and make sure it's right for you, because it's really there's some potential issues for me anyway, but for other people, you know, it might not be a problem. The height of the lift gate, you know, I bumped my head on it, not good. The noises that it makes, very annoying. Things you can't turn off. It just preemptively just starts beeping at you when you get in the vehicle for no reason and stuff like that. It's just the noises. I had to go through the settings and turn everything off because it was really it got to the point where, like, you know, after like one time riding in it, my son was like, I never want to ride in that car again, it's so annoying. So, you know, it's one of those things that need to be improved. And it's not just this vehicle. Mazda in general has that has annoying sounds and stuff, and you know, some people might not have a problem with it, but you know, I certainly do. And you know, bumping my head on the lift gate is definitely not a plus. Now if you're like under 5'10", you shouldn't have any problem with that, but in my case, you know, being 6 feet even, it's not like I'm 6'1" or anything, it just doesn't go up high enough. So that's something to consider. Now these seats are actually pretty decent. Some Mazdas are a little bit too firm, but this one is okay. I mean, I'm actually pretty comfortable in it once I got it positioned. This right here, this little area on my right knee is not all that comfortable. I'm constantly touching it, and it's padded underneath, but it's like rock solid above it, so the padding doesn't really do much, other than it doesn't really do much at all. But yeah, it's definitely a vehicle that you have to really test drive yourself. Because basically, if I were to just tell you about my experience with this vehicle, my subjective experience is that there's just too many deal breakers for me. But the problem with saying that is that, you know, they're not potentially deal breakers for you. And so what happens is, you know, my opinion is very subjective, and it is, I guess to a certain point, I'm trying to get back against my biases, because almost every Mazda vehicle is like I'm racking my brain on why they would design certain things. It just doesn't make any sense. And I used to be a Mazda fanboy for sure, but now the more I drive the modern ones, it's like, man, why are they doing this? So yeah, so that's why I'm trying to be as positive as I can with this vehicle, because in the past with other Mazdas, I've shared my, you know, my actual preferences, and you know, most people didn't like that. They would rather me reaffirm their buying decision instead of me sharing, you know, telling them what I don't like about it. So, but there's a lot of pluses. I mean, there's lots of room in here. In the back, more room really in the back than the front. I have to put the front seat all the way back, and then when I do that, the back seat, there's like no room back there. So the far back, the third row, is where all the room is, as far as, you know, as far as comparing it to other third row seats in other vehicles. The screen here is nice, and I can see it good. That screen is nice and big. I'm glad they made that nice and big, because some of them are too small. And it has a really nice camera system. So to take advantage of that, you need a decent screen over here. And they did that with this vehicle. Also, they did away with the reflective buttons down here, so I can actually see what's going on. Some of the other Mazdas had these are reflective, like a metallic material surface, and when the sun shines on it, you can't really see the buttons. But this one, they did away with that, which is good. Same thing over here. So yeah, you know, almost 20 miles per gallon with the hybrid system, and you know, fairly decent acceleration, and good looking vehicle. That's definitely the best thing about this vehicle. For its size and everything, it looks really good. They did a great job with the design. when you have the cruise control set, and some other vehicles do this too, set, and then you start turning the steering wheel, it automatically slows the vehicle down. So I get right there, and then it starts significantly slowing the vehicle down. And when I straighten it up, it goes fast again. So it's one of those things where I don't really care for that. I'd rather me drive the vehicle and choose what speed I want to take the curve at, but it kind of decides for you to kind of significantly lower the speed, not just a little bit, but like almost slap on the brakes type slow down. So that's something to consider. But yeah, let me know what you think of this vehicle in the comments, and let me know if I'm being too harsh or if I'm being too subjective or whatever with Mazdas in general.